I'm going to call the regular city council meeting of the Stevensville City Council into order. And so first of all, I've asked Councilman Nix, if he would lead us in the two pledges. So would you stand, please? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Honor the Texas flag. I pledge allegiance to thee, Texas, one state under God, one and indivisible. Excuse me, I'm coughing. Karen. I have a couple things something I want to talk about for just a minute before we get into our regular council meeting. Many of you knew that all of the council knows, I went to Israel for 2 weeks and got to go with a very smart scholar in the Bible, in history and archaeology. And this was one of the first places we went to, and it's one of about 30 places, historical sites our group visited for the 2 weeks we were there. This place is called Tel Gezer. Tel just means it's a town that's been destroyed and built on top of it, and destroyed, built on top of it. So it's basically a mound of different cities that have come and gone over the last, in this case, 5,000 years. Gezer is a very important city because of its location. It was at the crossroads of the world. 3 major thoroughfares for world travel went within just a few miles, one of them right by this location. So it's very important in the trade routes, and so it's an important city, very wealthy city. What you see here is the city gate. It's called a Solomonic Gate, and there's some characteristics that I don't need to get into here, but the gate had 2 purposes. As in most cities, there's a big wall that goes around the city, and then there's the gate. That's the only way in and out, is through that little opening there. And obviously that's important, first of all, for protecting the city, but the vast majority of the time, what this was is where all business, city business, took place. It was a place where citizens came and paid their taxes. They engaged in commerce. They bought and sold their wares there. It was very important to come and ask leaders whenever there were people who would say things like, my neighbor is treating me like this. They would come here for correction, for help. They'd meet the king there. They'd talk to the judges of the city and the area, would meet them there. People dealt with all important things, sometimes just little squabbles between neighbors. Someone has encroached on my farm or my olive tree. As I was sitting in this ruin, you don't see the picture there because I'm taking the picture, but I stood right there at the very entrance of that gate on the far side of the gate. As I sat there, it struck me. This is a whole lot like Stephenville, Texas. So we have a lot of responsibilities as a city council. Some ways the future of our community rests on the decisions we make every time we come here and vote yes or no for something. There's a reason, though, that Gezer looks like it is today. It was there, like I said, it's been there they dug down around 5,000 years now. But there's 3 reasons that we were told that why the city isn't there any longer. The first one is their purpose became irrelevant. That's a really big one. Second one was the relationships between those in the city and those in the area deteriorated. But mostly, they got behind in world affairs. The world passed them by. So the city's now in the condition you see it there. It's called a ruin. And it's nothing more than a historical site now. Thousands of people come there every year to look. And I hope they reflect like I did. Why are they like this? So as I was walking away from this site, I said, I'm determined that I'm going to share this with my fellow council members. Let's don't forget our purpose. Let's don't become irrelevant. And most of all, let's don't let the city or the world pass us by. And that's the stuff we're going to talk about tonight. There's a lot of important things, and I want you to know since last week, I've probably spent 40 hours on the phone, texting, emailing, and visiting with folks. There's a lot that goes on in the city of Stephenville. Tonight's going to be some of those issues. And so I encourage us, let's don't forget what our purpose is. So, thank you very much. Our invocation is by Pastor Jared Brown of the Grace Fellowship Church. If you'll come up and lead us in our prayer.
you bow with me in prayer? Father, we are so grateful, Lord, to live in this community because we know that you have a purpose and a place for us in this world, Lord. And you have spoken that we will be a city set upon a hill. And God, we just want to thank you for that. I thank you for this city council, a place that we can go to, a place that we can have our grievances heard, our celebrations joined in on. And God, we just want to thank you for that. Father, I pray tonight a blessing over the city council members, Lord, that you would give them supernatural wisdom, discernment, insight, and favor, Lord, in ruling and deciding and making decisions. Let it be more than themselves. Let it be more than their collective intellect, Lord. Let it be more. Let it be divine. Let it be inspiration that comes from you. So, Father, we bless the work of your hand that is in them and upon them. We pray that you would just do more than we could ever think or conceive possible. We honor and we bless them, and we honor and bless you through them. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. We as a city council are honored that the Stephenville Ministerial Alliance prays for us regularly, that we make good decisions and help the city of Stephenville, Texas. Okay, we'll jump down to item 5, our regular agenda, and the first thing we always do is open up for citizens' general discussion. If you would like to come discuss anything, it's open session. There, we need to know who you are and your name. So there's a form we need to fill out here. Is anybody that's collected a form and wants to speak to the council tonight? Hearing none, we'll go on to the second item. The second one is a great honor for the city of Stephenville, Texas. And tonight we have a presentation of the Texas Amateur Athletic Federation Member City of the Year. It's going to be awarded by Mark Lord. I'm going to invite Mark up from the TAAF. He has a presentation, and like usual, we have some pictures to take.
Honorable Mayor, will you join me, please? Y'all all hear me, can't you? First, I can't come to Stephenville today and not make reference to the loss that the Stephenville municipal family and the Taft family have experienced with the passing of Ronnie Eichel. Bear was a great man with Taft. He's a past president. I'm a past president. He's 40 plus years, and I couldn't do that. And I'll be back in 2 weeks. So, I was here 9 years ago to present this same award. This award is the highest award a city can get with Texas Amateur Athletic Federation. We give 3 out every year, and it's determined by population. Over 75,000, between 35 and 75,000, and under 35,000. And it is selected by our membership, 165 plus municipal parks and recreation departments. And it is their peers that have chosen us. I was lucky enough to come up this last spring. I came to the Taft State Volleyball Tournament, and you can ask I'm trying to convince my son to go to Tarleton State. He wants to be an Aggie. I'm like, they're part of the system. It's great. But I'm telling you, Jen, you've got a great staff. I mean, and I'd like the staff to come up with this also. Yeah, this is a complete result of a group effort. And you've got Jen, you've got Jesus, you've got CV, Ashley, Jake, Tyler, Talea, and I'm telling you, they are leaders within Taft, and this is the best part of my job, is going around and letting the cities know that y'all got a bird nest on the ground right here. As I would say, when you hear best fighter pound for pound, I'm telling you, this department, the size of your city, this is the best department pound for pound out there. And I cannot say enough. But it is with great pleasure that I present the 2018 Taft Member City of the Year Award. You can only get this once every 5 years. In the last 20 years, we give Member City Awards of platinum, gold, silver, and bronze. In the last 20 years, 18 of those years, Stephenville has either gotten platinum or gold. That's unbelievable. And I'd love for someone else to take the picture because I don't think the director needs to.
Jen needs to be in there, absolutely. Get up at the front, Jen. Don't be bashful. Okay, she's hiding
Got
though.
everybody?
Yes, several.
Perfect. Thank you so much for the opportunity. I hope I didn't take too much time, and I hope to be back in 5 years personally. So, thank you so much. Brandon?
Jen, to you and your staff, thank you so much for what you do for City of Steveville. Okay, the next item on the agenda is consider changing the date of this January City Council meeting to January 8th. Do I have any discussion?
So moved.
I have a motion that we move the City Council meeting to January 2nd by Mark, seconded by Rhett.
No, Alan next.
Alan Nix, I'm sorry. I just didn't hear you, sorry. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Same sign opposed. Okay, we're going to reschedule to January the 8th for the next City Council, for that January City Council meeting. Thank you. Next item on the agenda is Nominations Committee. So we're going to turn that over to Rhett Harrison, then we'll come back and we'll have some more discussion.
Thank you, Doug. I would like to start off by thanking staff and the nominations committee. This has really been an extraordinary year. This is my fourth year to participate as chairman over this committee. And normally, we just don't have the applicants or the quality of applicants that we have. There were some things that were done a little bit different. We did extend the deadline to make sure that we had as many solid candidates that we possibly could. But that's a good problem to have. But there was some work that went into it. I know Stacy and probably Alan got tired of talking to me there for a while, but we're able to do that. And on November 26th, we met and we did an interview process on the applicants, and that would have consisted of Board of Adjustments, CETA, and Planning and Zoning only. And those would be new applicants the way that it was structured now. And I would like to speak to the fact of the application or the interview process. And admittedly, when it was first discussed, I was skeptical about it. And I know that there were at least a couple other councilmen that were skeptical about it. But I have to admit that it was a value. I was pleasantly surprised on how it worked out. And I would recommend expanding that to other committees in the future. So we interviewed people, and on the 27th, we were provided an attendance list for the board and committee members. That was reviewed, and then we deliberated over the applications and the interviews that we had the previous day, which has resulted in the subsequent recommendations that you have before you. And basically, that's it, Doug. I'll give it back to you.
Thank you. And I want to say thank you to everyone who has volunteered to be on a board, those who volunteered and did get picked to be on a board. I want to say thank you for that, because that's the substance of government, is people who are volunteering to do something for their community. And I want to say thank you. I want to say thank you to the council members, because at first we didn't have a lot of volunteers. And so we put out the word, and people started knocking doors, making phone calls, saying, please volunteer to provide services. And some, a whole lot more, got involved than others, but thank you for doing that. And we had a plethora of volunteers for the different city council the different committees for nominations. The process, I do know that there were some folks that had a little bit of trepidation over it, and I appreciate them taking that advice and going through the process, because what it did is allow people to say, instead of saying, well, I think I know Joe, or Judy, she'd make a good one. Well, what do you know about him? Well, it's an opportunity for them to come present to the committee, and then to say, when we decide who's going to be nominated, to be able to say, I know who that is. And so thank you for the process. It took extra time, and I appreciate you all spending the time doing that. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to suggest something, and I'm going to ask for, make a suggestion, and then ask for permission for the council to proceed in this way. What I'd like to do is I'd like to take the committees by committee, and what I'd do is I'd like to say we're going to kind of handle it like a consent agenda in a sense. We'll take each committee at a time and say, for example, Parks and Recreation, we're going to take first. I'm taking them out of order here, so you want to follow along. We'll take Parks and Recreation first, and I'm going to ask, does anybody have a name they want to pull from the list so we can discuss later? And Then what we'll do is we'll ask for a nomination or a motion to, and a second to nominate the rest of the committee, and then we'll proceed to vote. Is that okay with you, Alan, to do it that way?
Yes.
Okay.
Not Alan, but yes.
Well, I was looking at Alan, but I'll ask you as well. All right.
Oh, sure.
There you go.
You don't need my permission.
Well, okay, I just want to make sure. All right, so we'll proceed in that way. So we're going to start with Parks and Recreation Advisory Board. We have 4 nominations. Does anybody want to pull a name from the list for further discussion? Hearing none, do I hear a motion to adopt these names?
So moved.
I have a motion. Second? Did you get that, Karen, who they were? Okay, motion was by
Red
Mark,
Bears.
by Rhett started. Who seconded it? Sherry seconded it, okay. Parks and Recreation, any more discussion?
I have a comment.
Okay,
I'm going to abstain from this vote since my son is one of the nominees.
And I will too.
okay. All right, any other discussion? Hearing none, let's proceed to vote. All in favor of the nomination, the 4 nominations, say aye. Opposed, same sign. Okay, we now have a new Parks and Recreation Board. Thank you for your willingness to serve. We'll go to Airport Advisory Board. We'll do the same process. Anybody have a name they want to pull? Hearing none, do I hear a motion?
Mayor, I move to approve the Airport Advisory Board as presented.
I second.
Mark makes the motion and Carla seconds it. Any further discussion? All in favor of the motion, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. We now have a Airport Advisory Board. Thank you for your willingness to serve. The next one's going to be Senior Citizen Advisory Board.
Can I just mention something about that board?
Yes.
Matter, and I think Carla mentioned at the nomination committee, originally her application was blank. I think she got nominated anyways, but she came in, she was concerned about that process, and that was blank. In your packet, you do have her full application now.
Okay.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Jeremy.
Third Advisory Committee, Senior Citizen Advisory Board. Anybody want to pull a name from the list? Hearing none, do I hear a motion?
I make the motion, we accept the nominees as presented for Senior Citizen Advisory Board.
Carla makes the motion. Sherry seconds it. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Same sign opposed. We have a Senior Citizen Advisory Board. Next one we'll take is Library Advisory Board. Anybody want to pull a name? Hearing none, do I hear a motion?
Go ahead. Okay, I'll go. I move we approve the Library Advisory Board as presented.
Brady makes a motion. Sherry seconds it. Anybody have other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. We now have a Library Advisory Board. Then we're going to jump to Building Board. Anybody want to pull a name? Hearing none, do I hear a motion?
Move to approve as presented.
Mark makes a motion to approve.
Second.
Alan seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. We have a Building Board. Let's go to Mechanical Board. Anybody have a name they want to pull for discussion? Hearing none, do I hear a motion?
Move to approve as presented, Mr. Mayor.
Mark makes a motion to approve. Do I second?
Second.
Carla seconds it. Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye. Same sign opposed. We have a Mechanical Board. Let's go to Plumbing Board.
Hey, Doug, can I mention something?
Yes, sir.
quick? And I don't know, I didn't do my due diligence, but,
Is this on his evaluation? Okay.
Mangrum is on 2 boards in this, and I know we talked about not being on, at least on the list, he's on 2 boards. So, we need to,
Is that a procedural issue, a policy issue right now? Or is that what we said we wanted to do? It was a policy issue.
sorry.
Mr. Mayor, however, on these 3 boards, on the building board, mechanical board, and plumbing board, the people on these boards have to be employed in that field of business. I don't know who would get to replace him on either of the boards.
What I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and ask for a nomination, a motion to pass, and we'll pass it to staff to come back and look at, take it, advise, and bring it back to council or bring it back to nominations committee at their next meeting, if that's okay. Anybody have a problem with that? Do I hear a motion to approve the plumbing board?
Second.
Alan made the motion. Sherry seconds it. Any other discussion? Hearing none, let's proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. We have a new plumbing board. Well, a plumbing board, maybe the same people. I keep saying new, it may be the same folks. Tourism and Visitors Bureau. Does anybody want to pull a name? This is an important board for the future of Stephenville, Texas. It could potentially change the face of this city. Very important. Anybody want?
We might want to mention that we're holding out for one spot that has to do,
What, at
it's
a
related
Has to be
to
a
the
hotel
hotels.
owner or
So,
employee of a hotel. That's
sounds
correct.
worth
So there
it.
was one more that we'll add to this at a later date. Anybody want to pull a name? Hearing none, do I hear a motion?
I make a motion, we approve the Tourism Visitors Bureau nominees as presented.
Carl makes a motion. Who seconded it? Sherry seconds that. Before we vote, I want to say to Carl particularly, thank you for your work there, and Julie, she's not here, I don't think.
No, she's not here tonight.
This is a really big deal. I really appreciate y'all doing this. Hearing none, pull, we have a motion on the floor. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. We have a new Tourism and Visitors Advisory Board. Okay, that's number 8. Let's go to, get my list here. Next one we're gonna go to is, where is my list here? It's on the back page. Okay, let's go to Erath County Appraisal District Board. Yeah, does anybody want to pull the one name from the list? We have one member. Okay, hearing none, do I hear a motion?
I make the motion that we approve David Thomason as our appraisal district board member.
Second.
Carl makes a motion, Mark seconds it. Any further discussion?
I just got a quick question.
Yes,
Mayor.
sir.
I mean, obviously, I love David, and he did a great job. I saw Mr. Hanson in the back. I know he's our current representative. I didn't know if there was something that I missed as far as his attendance or what he'd been doing as far as his job is concerned with this board that didn't warrant a renewal of his nomination, or
Do you
thought we
want,
might owe it to him to tell him maybe, since he's here.
anybody want to address that?
I'm also not part of the committee, so I didn't.
Well, I wasn't at the committee hearing either.
I was there as part of it, so I didn't know if there was. I know we talked about previously, I guess, his fact that he lived in the city limits. Langley, you could discuss that last time we appointed him.
Mhm.
I know that had changed, I don't believe, but I just didn't know if it
And
was.
that was mentioned again, so,
So you're saying that, you think that had something to do with it?
that he lives at Morgan Mill, I believe.
Okay, any other suggestions?
There wasn't any problem.
Okay. I just
There
didn't know. I just
wasn't a
thought
problem.
with him being here tonight, I thought maybe we.
It's fair, it's
Owe
fair.
it to him, I mean, tell him something.
Absolutely. Any further discussion about Erath County Appraisal District Board? Our member. Hearing none, let's proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
All same sign opposed. Motion passes. Let's go to the next board is, let me see, that was 9. Let's go to 10. It's gonna be, what am I missing? I got 3 of them I'm missing here. 10, Board of Adjustments. Anybody want to pull a name for the Board of Adjustments? There's 2 vacancies still on the board. Did y'all, they're the alternates. We still have to appoint 2 alternates, okay?
And I know that Stacy opened up back the website so people could apply for those positions.
Okay, anybody have anything else they want to add? Anybody want to pull a name? Okay, hearing none, do I hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move, we approve as presented.
Mark makes a motion. Alan seconds the motion. Any further discussion? And I'm assuming that means that you'll consider that at the next committee hearing then, the alternates, okay? We'll proceed to vote. All in favor of the 5 place names for the Board of Adjustments, say
I think
aye.
there's 4.
There's 4, okay, it's my bifocals, I'm sorry.
Okay.
There's place 1, 2, 5, and 3, and 5, okay. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Have Board of Adjustments. Let's go to number 10. The next committee will be, I'm going to take Economic Development last. What am I missing besides Economic
P&Z.
Development? P&Z. All right, P&Z is on this page over here. Okay, P&Z. I have an announcement. I received an email today and had a phone call with Jerry Warren, and he's asked to withdraw his name for consideration for the P&Z committee. So that's going to be 1 less name here. So we have 4. So what I'm going to recommend is that what we do is we send this back to committee. It gives us 4 members. It gives us 1, 2, 3, 4 members. Is that right? Well, it's more than that because there's some that aren't rotating off. So I'm going to recommend it goes back to committee for a reconsideration for that, for place 5. Anybody else, any comments about that?
Let me ask you something.
Sure.
I just kind of want to throw this out there. What would it be appropriate, since it can continue to function with 9 people now, would it be inappropriate to go ahead and try to deal with it from that aspect, or would it be the pleasure of the council?
You mean to add a name from?
No, I'm
from the
saying,
floor?
if there's 9 people here, or whatever it can function with 9 people. We'd be absent 1, which would knock us down from 10 to 9.
Mhm.
Would it be proper to go ahead and approve the people that we have that
Oh.
submitted, and then deal with just the one name, or would it be better just to deal with the entire committee?
No, I would recommend we just deal with place 5. That's what I'm suggesting.
All right.
That we go ahead and vote on the other names that were recommended from the committee, and then we send back to committee to look at place 5 replacement, unless the council has other preferences.
So we need to just strike the name, or?
We just strike the name Jerry Warren because he's withdrawn. I have written his written email. So we're going to consider then Richard, Lisa, Todd, and Meta. Is that clear as mud?
And place 5 will remain vacant until.
Place 5 will remain vacant until the committee comes up with a recommendation.
I think that's the best way to handle
All
that.
right.
Anybody want to pull another name from the list? Do I hear a motion?
Mr. Mayor, I move we approve as presented.
Okay, I have
Second.
Mark and Carla have made the motion and second. Any other further discussion? Hearing none, proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye. Same sign opposed. Thank you, and I appreciate that. I'm sure that Karen and Stacy will get with you on scheduling a meeting for that. Okay, the last one I want to talk about is the 12th committee to talk about will be the Stevensville Type B Economic Development Authority. And I'm going to take the floor as the chair of the committee tonight, or the council tonight, and I had a couple things I want to say. There has been a lot of discussion about the Stevensville Economic Development Corporation. It's new. It was something that the city of Stephenville voted overwhelmingly to start. It has the potential to make huge changes in how we function as a city, particularly how we're able to, and I hate to say this, but it's the right thing to say, is how much money we have to spend in taxes, how it improves the city of Stephenville services. And some of y'all in the audience and on watching on the Facebook don't hear all the things that we hear about the potential things about to hit Stephenville, Texas. It's an exciting time to be around to see what maybe is. I keep saying this to people all the time. We're on the precipice of either climbing up a ladder real fast or falling off the edge, one of the two. And we're just at that point. And because of that, this committee needs to function incredibly well. And I'm going to take, maybe it's similar, it's not appropriate, but I'm going to tell you my opinion. We have had some struggles because we didn't know how to act sometimes. And I'll say this, they didn't know how to act sometimes. And we've all sat down and we've worked on that. And I'm the kind of person that I believe I take people at their word, and I've seen the council and this committee and staff work together as a team much better in the last 2 to 3 months. And I'll tell you that it has nothing to do with the names of people who are recommended, nothing to do with the list of names here. But I'm going to just say this, that my relationship and the work I've done with Gerald Cook has been exemplary. It's been something that I can call Gerald, and you can ask him if you want to. He may give you examples, he may not. But I can get in his face over an issue. I can go to him and I say, I need help for things. And Gerald has done, every time I've asked him to do something, he's done that. And I just want to put that in there. I've not polled people or any of that stuff. I just want everybody to know I trust Gerald Cook. We also have a no recommendation on place 5, which is a young lady sitting in the aisle. I'm going to say that because I get good strokes for that. Marion has been on the committee for a long time, since the inception, and has been a great member, and there was no recommendation for that place, and I understand that that was really a 2-2 split. And so tonight what I'm going to ask is that we address names on the committee, and like we did before, is there somebody that would like to pull a name from this for consideration?
Mr. Mayor, I'd respectfully ask to hold the name of Paul Nelson.
Okay, so you want to pull Paul Nelson's name from the list and hold it for discussion. Anybody else? Hearing none, is there other discussion? I'll ask for a motion. Does anybody have a motion to make?
Mr. Mayor, I move that we accept the remainder of the list as presented.
I
Are you
that?
place 1, 6, and 7?
1, 6, and 7, so Mr. Pete Cooper in place 1, Chris Gifford in place 6, and Shelby Slauson in place 7.
Okay, thank you for clarifying that.
Second.
Carla seconds that. Any further discussion? Proceed to vote then. All in favor of accepting place 1, 6, and 7, is that right?
That's correct.
Say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Okay, those have been approved. Now let's go back and look at them individually. Let's take place 5 first. Do I hear a
I'd like to make a
recommendation?
motion to appoint Marion Cole.
Second.
that.
Okay. Mr. Huckabee makes a motion to appoint Marion to place 5. Who seconded that? Alan made the second. Any further discussion? Proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed.
Nay.
Okay, we have 1 nay and the rest yes. Okay, Marion will be back on the committee. And what about place 3? Anybody have a suggestion?
I'd like to make a motion to place Gerald Cook in place 3.
I'll second.
Okay, Mr. Huckabee making a motion. And who seconded it? Mark made this, seconded that we place in place 3, that we put Gerald Cook. Any further discussion? Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed.
Nay.
Okay, let's go to a roll call vote then. Place 1.
Aye.
Have an aye in place 1.
Nay.
Place 2. Place 3 is vacant. Place 4, it had to step out for something. Place 5.
Nay.
Place 6.
Yes.
Place 7.
Nay.
Place 8.
Yes.
So we have 3 yeses and 3 nos, and so I will vote to break the tie as yes. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so we have a vote of 4 to 3, that now Gerald Cook will be reappointed to the Civil Economic Development Corporation. I thank you for your nomination, your willingness to serve. There are other committees. There's a P&Z committee that needs some help, and I'd sure let Red or someone get in touch with you and see what we can do there. Thank you very much. Any,
We need alternate on Board of Adjustments.
yeah, we need an alternate on the Board of Adjustment. That's a biggie, so we appreciate that. Any other discussion about nominations committee? I want to say thank you to those, again, who volunteer to put their names on the list. Everybody gets out there on the end, and it's difficult sometimes to have somebody discuss you as a person in public. I appreciate that. And specifically, I appreciate the council and the way that we handled the committee meetings. And every time that you do something for the first time, there's always some rough spots. And I appreciate the work you did as a committee chair. Thank you very much. And I'm sure that we'll get better as time goes on. All right, next item on the agenda is Public Works Committee. Alan Nix will turn it over to the chair.
Thank you, Mayor. We also met on the 27th of November to discuss 3 items on our agenda. Yes, I'll bring those up to you tonight. The first item was a lease for a portion of our landfill. We have a portion of our landfill that was a type 1 landfill for many years. That is closed, and we have a surface lease with a landowner who has property that is contiguous to that. The property has no water, but by having this man have it leased for grazing, he maintains the fences, he maintains a presence on the property to help us make sure that no one enters that shouldn't be there. We've had it leased to this man for several years. We've had a good relationship with him. He's maintained the fences and the property as we requested that he do. The lease is for 5 years. It's the same length of time and the same dollar amount that we have leased it for to this gentleman in the past. And the recommendation of the committee was to approve the agreement for another 5-year lease. And I would make that as a motion to approve the 5-year lease with Mr. Esquell for that portion of our landfill.
Second.
Okay. Have a motion and a second to approve the lease as presented to you in the report. Is there any discussion? I'm sorry, I'm just writing something down. No further discussion. Is it actually an ordinance just approving the contract?
It's just an approval of the contract.
There's no ordinance that goes along with an ordinance? Okay. All in favor of approving the contract as presented tonight? say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Okay, thank you, Mr. Nix.
Second item on our agenda was trying to address what we have had in recent history as a flooding issue in the Spring Bouquet neighborhood. This has become an issue because of the continued building and the continued drainage and the continued problems that we have in this area. We've had problems with water in homes even and across front yards and other things. We asked Freeze and Nichols to provide a proposal to us by which this might be addressed. They in turn came back to us and said that they would provide the plans and specs to correct the drainage in that area for, I believe it's $193,000 and some change. There may be a possibility at some point in the future for us to apply for some grants or some financial assistance that would require that we have a shovel-ready plan on the shelf, ready to go to work, rather than start at that point and try to develop the plans and specs, which will be probably a several month-long process to develop that. Freeze and Nichols has done work for the city for years. They've provided a high quality of work. It was staff's recommendation, and it was the recommendation of the council that we approve this agreement for professional services with Freeze and Nichols to plan the specs and the design for the drainage issues in the Spring Bouquet area. And I will make that as a motion for the council to consider.
Second.
Cal made the motion, Mark second. Any discussion?
I would like to just add, I think Alan did a great job of explaining that, but in talking to our, let's just call him advocate in Austin about this particular project, what's important is that the city clearly identifies a problem and identifies a need within the city, and then what the state is looking for and other agencies are looking for in order to fund things like that is how committed are we to it? And the commitment to the project is us going in and doing the engineering work up front. And so when an opportunity for funding comes along, we've identified a project, we've made a commitment to the project. The only thing that's stopping us from doing the project is lack of funding. And that's exactly what the state and other agencies are looking for on these types of projects. So I think that's why this is vitally important.
Thank you. It's just like what we talked about with the East Side Sewer Project. Our skin in the game is what moved the points up for us. We are going to have some other projects ready for this. I'll be spending lots of time in Austin the next 6 months, and I can promise you the more we have projects like this, it's easier to sell. It's easier to sell to the state of Texas, to legislators, and even government entities. So, any further discussion? Hearing none, I accept the motion from Alan and second by Mark to approve the professional service agreement Freeze and Nichols for Spring Bouquet drainage improvements. All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Okay, motion passes. We have some neighbors down there that need to be taken care of, and I appreciate everybody doing this project.
And I'd like to commend staff, because staff helped tremendously as we waded literally through this problem, trying to find solutions that would be palatable and also feasible for us, the city, to consider, and then working with Freeze and Nichols trying to help come along with that.
Good.
Last item on our agenda is another, in my opinion, good news, because we have been awarded by the state, the Texas Department of Agriculture specifically, a grant to help us with some more improvements in a lower socioeconomic area of town. They've needed these improvements for some time. The state of Texas has awarded us a grant of $275,000. We will be matching that grant with a like sum of $275,000. That funding is already in our budget. I think the contract documents have already been sent to us and signed. We need to formally accept their offer of the grant tonight to move the process along and have that money coming to us for this project. And I think that project is ready to begin as soon as we have all of the associated paperwork in place. I would make the motion that we accept the grant from the Texas Department of Agriculture for the $275,000 for the utility infrastructure improvements in this specified area.
Second.
Alan makes a motion, Mark seconds it. I'd encourage anybody listening or watching, if you have a question about where that area is, that you get with staff and then point out the kind of project we're working on. It is a great thing. When I get this in the mail, I'm always worried about making sure we get all the signatures back. You got 30 days, all that stuff, and so I'm burning up the phone call with Nick and with Karen. Have we done all we need to get done? So I appreciate their help as well. Any further discussion? See the vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Motion passes. We've accepted the CBDG grant. And by the way, we have other applications in, and we're going to submit some more. So we're going to be looking for other people's money. What they're saying, Texas always sends more money than Washington than we get back. Well, we do the same thing in Stephenville to the city of Austin. We're going to try to get some of that back. So I appreciate your leadership, Alan, and Mark, as well as the Finance Committee. Next committee, Public Health and Safety Committee. Brady Pendleton's out here. We'll skip that, and he's going to be back in about another 14, 15 minutes. So we'll go down to Finance Committee. Mark, do your committee.
If my technology will work, I will.
Well, you know what? Alan would come down and help you figure that part out. I bet.
Really?
I've got a hammer out to pick up. I'll help you.
He tells me you just hit it upside the TV and it starts working.
Really, I was gonna add some water from Carla's cup, but. Finance Committee met on 11/27. All members were present. We had one item on the agenda. It was a non-action item. And it was to discuss the options. Monica had sent out for bids on possible lease financing options for a proposed fire truck. And at the last regular council meeting, or the last special council meeting, she had presented those numbers. And to avoid any confusion as we move forward, I thought it would be of value to have the Finance Committee take a look at that beforehand. That's what we discussed. We know full well that the numbers that were presented at Finance Committee are likely to change due to fluctuations in the markets. But we went over the payment schedule and we looked at that. We looked at the options that she presented, and hopefully when the fire department makes a final selection for a vehicle and we know the absolute numbers, the financing part of it will come easy. So there was no action item on ours, and it was simply for discussion. And sir, everybody had a great time, I promise. Here ends the Finance Committee report.
Thank you, Mark. Planning and Development Committee, Mr. Huckabee.
All right, we met as well. We had two items on our agenda. I'll talk about the non-action agenda first and then move to the next one. We talked about a sidewalk improvement plan that staff is put together and proposed. It's a collaboration between the Public Works and our Development Services. The goal of the program is to successfully provide a continuous sidewalk system throughout the community, install new sidewalks where they're needed and greatest need, repair hazardous and deteriorated sidewalks, upgrade existing sidewalks to provide safe and efficient pedestrian movement, meet ADA standards, and really just connect our city better around schools for school safety, around walking neighborhoods for safety. So that's going to be going through a P&Z committee, and then that will come back to full council. So
no action item.
No action item. So
Okay.
the next thing is consider a planning and development or an agreement. Sorry. With the, I'm reading on my tiny phone. It won't work on my thing. So
You need to talk to Mark. You need to talk to Alan. He can help you with that.
Consider approval for a development agreement with Amber Homes for the Green Acres Edition.
Yes, I did.
Being a replat of lots 2 through 21. It's a new housing division. It'll consist of 20 single-family homes. There will be a new road in Wiley Street that will serve the development on the existing side, and a reconstruction of Tab Street. And this was moved through the committee with a unanimous vote to be approved.
Okay. So we have a recommendation from the committee to approve the development agreement with Green Acres.
Yes.
Is there, there's no public hearing on this one? That's correct, okay. So any discussion? Any questions? Everybody has the agreement in front of them? Well, most everybody.
I don't.
Okay, but you've read it. I'm
I've
sure.
read it.
Okay. No other questions? We'll proceed to vote. All in favor of approving the development agreement with Amber Homes for the Green Acres addition?
Wait, We didn't get a motion or a second.
You're in a hurry.
Brandon made it, did you make a motion?
I made a recommendation, motion.
He made a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second.
Okay, we got a second and a motion now.
Okay.
We still have an hour and a half worth of for executive session, okay. Has nothing to do with, me skipping that has nothing to do with the fact we got another hour and a half worth of meeting on this. I appreciate the, well, I tell you what, guys, just calm down there. The lawyer got all excited about that. Hair
He
stood
was
up on his.
pinching me.
Oh, he was, yeah, okay. We have a motion by Brandon and a second by Mark. Further discussion. Hearing none, we'll proceed to vote. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. We have approved the development agreement with Amber Home for Green
That
Acres Edition.
concludes our committee meeting.
Thank you, Brandon. Monica Harris, going to have our financial report or budget report for the period ending October 31st. While you're getting up, I say this every time I have an opportunity. We have a gem standing at the table right now. And y'all just don't, if y'all don't know what that means, you need to get to know her. She's a wonderful addition to Stephenville, Texas. Thank you for being a new citizen. I guess a year and 6 months now, I guess.
Almost a year.
Almost a year. It's a great lady.
Thank you. So for October, we received $292,000 in our property taxes, and that's $39,000 or 16% increase over the funds collected in October of last year. For sales tax, we received $586,000 in October, resulting in $59,000 over our target budget for October, and we received $85,000 or 17% more than last year. So we had a really good October. In hot funds, we received $278 in hotel occupancy tax interest revenue for October. Last year it was $179, and that's not very much money, but the reason being is the first report that's for October through December is not due until January, so we won't really see significant income in this fund until then. Most of them report quarterly. We do have a few that report monthly, but it's not very significant yet. We spent $10,000 in hotel occupancy tax funds in October as compared to $35,000 last year. The target budget for operating revenue for October is $2.1 million. We received $1.8 in revenue in October, which is $310,000 under our budget. Not to worry, this is a result of our property taxes being billed in October, and then they don't become delinquent until after January. And then our other taxes and permits, like some of the franchise taxes, also are due quarterly and annually. The target budget for operating expenditures is $1.7 million. We've expended $1.5 million in October, which is $228,000 under budget. So we've kind of started out slow to start for our spending. I promise it'll pick up. Our operating
Nick, slow down.
The fire and police will get it rolling pretty good. The operating revenue received last year was $1.7 million as compared to the current year's $1.8 million, resulting in a $93,000 increase, which is due to our property taxes, sales taxes, and investment interest. The operating expenditures last year were $1.7 million as compared to the current year's $1.5 million, which is a $225,000 decrease from last year. As far as our new programs, the City Hall server, the asphalt distributor trailer, and the citizen permit module have been purchased, and we spent $194,000 on our sewer line rehabilitation and $35,818 on the 536-acre wellfield project. Are there any questions?
Questions for Monica? Mark?
I'm good. She's so thorough.
I knew you'd say that.
It's excellent.
You want to make a motion to accept her report?
I will do so, sir.
Mark makes a recommendation. We approve Monica's report as Director of Finance. Any, have a second? Alan seconds that. Any further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Thank you for your presentation.
Thank you, Monica.
Stephenville Economic Type B Economic Development Authority update. Jeff Sandifer. Close. What did I call you? Sanford.
Sandiford?
There's a Sandiford in
I'll
Son.
go by
That's what I was
whatever you
thinking
call
about
me,
that
Mayor.
TV show. I was watching old shows last night.
That was my Uncle Fred.
Okay. There you go.
We're very close. Thank you guys for meeting. They're going to put up some slides. Normally, I don't do slides for you, but you get 2 slideshows out of me now, and then a little bit later you get one in executive session. I'm very anxious to get into that meeting. You've mentioned it before. I'll keep you before midnight, we'll be out of there, I promise.
Thank you.
I'm excited about it. So what we're going to do is go through some of these.
Can you take
Ashley's
the
going to
Red
help me
Bull
out. Historically, we kind of positioned this in different ways so that we can talk about different things each month on the public side, because each time we also go into executive session, talk about a lot of the negotiations. And you were right in what you said earlier. There's so many things that a lot of the folks in the public arena don't get to see or hear. But one of the things I think has been fairly popular has been our facade improvement grant, something that has kind of gone through a lot of circles. But one of the things we did this year, in addition to changing some of the rules, as the council had requested on some of the things to address, not yet. No, I'm kidding. Sorry, Ashley. She's trying here. What we've done here, as you know, is we have focused this year on the downtown area. That was something very specific. I think that met with some good approval from the council and something that our board has been focused on. So now, Ashley will say the newest one is at Cowboy Way Travel. They've had a lot of building issues that they're going to address, and so we'll see that on the corner, Washington and Graham, that will be able to get revitalized very soon. We're very excited about what that's going to do to that corner. Go ahead. This one is on Skinny's Repair Shop, just around the corner from there. This was the before. You see that it's not a whole lot going on at their place, and so they just completed. Actually, I think they have a little bit more to do, and we'll show you the after. You see some new signage and some other things. Also comes with a car, which is cool. I don't know what that, but anyway, the good thing is we couldn't take a picture without cars going by, so it was pretty exciting. They're still doing some work. In fact, they've committed to doing some more work, and their deal won't affect the facade piece, but they're excited about what that's doing for their business, and I'm excited as well. In addition, go ahead, Ashley. These are the ones downtown that have all had some kind of improvement, either underway or complete. You know about Slim Pickens on the corner, Silver Wings, and of course we just mentioned Skinny's and Cowboy Way Travel. We continue to go down the road on those that want to invest in that area, and we've talked with the downtown merchants, and we're going to continue to get the word out over time. This is our focus for this year. May continue beyond, but for right now, for the next 12 months, our excitement is in this area. So, Ashley. Some other things in workforce development, we try to keep you apprised of some of the things we're doing in that area. We've talked a lot about, in fact, for each of the past several months, the development of Fort Hood, and some of the things that are coming up very soon are the December 13th Career Day. It's manufacturer specific, so we have invited our manufacturers and continue to reach out. We have some that have signed up to join us at Fort Hood for that purpose of aligning the needs that they have with the needs or with the folks that will be transitioning out of the Army there at Fort Hood. The next available deal is at what they call a mega career fair coming up in January, and of course we'll give you more details. And as we go into the January deal, we won't have, because of the January 8th date, we won't have any information about the January one, but we will be able to report on what occurs in December and hopefully have some positive movement there. Go ahead. The next thing is Legislative Day. The last time this came through, we partnered with Tarleton. I should go ahead and mark that date. I don't have a lot of details yet as we're working on those. It is coming up fairly quickly, though, and as you know, those things are this was a date set by Tarleton, by the way, and we feel like instead of having two separate days, we better jump on with those guys and make sure that we can have one similar to what we did last time. We'll give you details. We obviously offer any or ask for any input that you might have that would be beneficial to the council as we, or to the city and specifically as we go down and prepare for that on February the 19th. Okay. So a couple things I'd like to leave you with my report on a few factoids I think are always good to know in terms of economic development and other things going on. First of all, Texas, Forbes announced that Texas is ranked number one. Well, we're number one, as you know, as a state in a lot of different areas. For growth prospects, we are number one in that area. Another thing is that for 27 consecutive months, we've had job growth in the state of Texas. That's a pretty good sign. Will it end? Can it end? Absolutely. A lot of things going on out there, and we're aware of that. Even as the stock market plunged today about 800 points, we know that that's going to affect things, but we also know it's a little volatile, so we're following how that's going to affect different things with recruitment and so forth. Thirdly, for the second quarter of 2018, Texas had the fastest GDP growth in the nation. It was at 6%. All states in the union, all 50 states, actually grew from a low of 2.5% to our 6%. It's nice to lead the nation in growth in different ways, so that's kind of cool. The next four behind us, I guess you had to have a state that begins with M because it's Michigan, Missouri, Minnesota, and Montana. So those are the next ones after us, but Texas leads with 6% growth. And I look forward to, and thank you for your participation in what's going to happen in our executive committee a little bit later.
One of the things I'd suggest is that we do more than one day, and not everybody can go because of the time commitment, but I'd sure encourage them to make more than one trip to Austin.
Fair.
It's important, I think, to do that.
Okay.
Is this Glenn Hager's come out with projections for the state coffers this year, and he's already announced there's probably $2 billion more than they initially anticipated, and.
I think they've
Does
already
it-
earmarked all of that for us.
Yeah, I think you're probably right. But, I mean, obviously Hurricane Harvey, the replaying of that, fixing that problem. There's some other issues they have to deal with. But the word out is that there may be another couple of $1 billion of funds available. And so we need to knock doors as fast as we can. And we need some shovel-ready projects, Mr. Hicks.
And I think those days work best when we're very strategic about our needs too,
Absolutely.
instead of.
So maybe what we
more
ought
of
to
a
do is
rifle approach.
have a workshop or some back and forth on where we go, who we talk to, et cetera, so we can make sure it's real targeted.
I think that's fair, absolutely.
Any other comments?
I have a question
Yes, ma'am.
about minutes. One of the applicants last week mentioned he tried to access the minutes and they weren't there, so I went and looked, and the minutes for the last 9 board meetings were not there. They were updated sometime this week, but still 4 meetings are missing. Can we not get those up in a
Sure.
timely manner so they can be transparent?
Absolutely.
Okay, thank
Yeah.
you.
Any other comments? Thank you for your report. We'll see you at back doors here in a little bit. Next item on the agenda is consent. Well, I guess Brady's not here, so how do you want to handle that?
You can go, we can even do executive session first if we need to, however you want to handle it.
Pleasure of the committee or council?
Let's do executive, let's do the consent agenda, and if Brady's not back,
We'll come back into, okay, is that, or are there one?
Oh, I thought Alan was gonna perform for us for 5 or 6 minutes. Is it possible?
there you go thinking again.
Oh, I'm sorry.
There you go, thinking again. All right, so let's address the consent agenda, and then we'll adjourn into executive session if Brady doesn't make it back in the meantime. We have 3 items. What's the pleasure on the consent agenda?
Mayor, I move approval of the consent agenda as presented.
Second.
Mark moves, we approve it as presented, and no, Alan makes the motion, and Mark seconds it. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye. Same sign opposed. We'll pass the consent agenda. Okay, in compliance with the provisions of the Texas Open Meetings Law, Subchapter D, the Government Code, Vernon's Texas Codes annotated in accordance with Section 551.087, deliberation regarding economic development negotiations, Tarleton's Crossing. We'll go in executive session, we'll adjourn and come back, and we will have, Mr. Pendleton said he would be back, and we'll take up Public Health and Safety Committee at that point.
good.
Okay?
Or some of us are better.
It
than
is
others.
8:16. I'm going to call the city council back in, out of executive session into regular council. Mr. Huckabee? Oh, he walked out the door. Okay. Then he was going to make an announcement. I'll just do it. There was no action taken in executive session to be brought before the council tonight. Last item we have on our agenda is the Public Safety Committee. Brady, would you present your report?
Yes, Mr. Mayor, thank you very much. We met back on November 27th. At that meeting, we discussed a couple things. Number one, a revision of the parking ordinance. In that conversation, I don't know, Chief, you want to mention anything on there? I mean, it's pretty easy, pretty self-explanatory, just a couple things, so.
Yes, sir. Just adding Monday through Friday 8 to 4 restrictions for the 800 block of Neblett Street from Shirley to Fry, and then changing it to no parking anytime in the 600 block of Neblett.
That was it?
Yes, sir.
So, with that being said, thank you, Chief. I'll make a motion that we move to adopt ordinance number 2018-048.
Second.
Okay, Brady makes a motion, and Carla, I heard her first, made the second. Is there any discussion? Hearing now, proceed to vote. All in favor of approving ordinance 2018-048, amending parking ordinance, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Okay, there you go. Next item.
And the next item we had, Mr. Mayor, was regarding the purchase of a new fire truck. Our conversation, of course, was a little premature, but nonetheless, we went ahead and the committee voted 3-0 to recommend that the city purchase a new fire truck for the funds not to exceed $1.2 million. So at this time, I would make a motion to go ahead and pre-approve the purchase of a fire truck not to exceed $1.2 million.
Brady makes motion, and Alan seconded that we approve the expenditure of up to $1.2 million. I'm assuming there'll be some kind of financing structure in that, not just cash.
I would assume that'd be the finance committee, yes, sir.
Okay.
This is to move it to the finance.
You got it, Bubba.
got it.
Okay, all right. Have a motion, a second to approve ordinance, it's not an ordinance, is it? It's just a approval of the purchase.
Yep.
Any further discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Same sign opposed. Thank you,
And
Brady.
that concludes committee.
Thank you, Brady.
That was fast, thank you.
Last thing we have on the agenda is comments by city administrator and city council members.
Excuse me, Mr. Mayor, members of the council, Holly Jolly, scheduled for Friday. However, a decision will be made tomorrow based on the weather forecast, which is cold and 100% chance of rain for Friday. City Hall will be closed for the employee luncheon on Friday, December the 14th, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. We'll be closed for the Christmas holidays Monday and Tuesday, December 24 and 25. We'll be closed for the New Year's holiday, January 1. The next council meeting, next regularly scheduled council meeting is January the 8th. And the final thing that I have is this Saturday, the Zonta Club has Run with Rudolph. It's a 5K or a 1-mile run, and it's in the park. It begins in the park at 8:30.
Thank you. Councilman McClinton.
I'd simply wish everyone a Merry Christmas, Mr. Mayor.
Carla.
The annual Oxford House Soup Supper is Monday, January 28th, so be on the lookout to buy your tickets in the next month. So,
Mr. Pendleton.
Merry Christmas.
I have nothing.
As we move into Christmas, let's focus on improving Christmas as we do so. That's it.
Mr. Nix.
I also wish that we could return to some of the values and some of the thoughts that we used to see during the holiday season rather than such commercialization. But I fear that's a sign of the times. But nevertheless, I hope everyone has a happy holiday and gets to spend an extremely large amount of time with their families.
Thank you, sir.
Well, and actually, kind of speaking to that point, I think I would like to say again, thank you to everybody who filled out an application to be on the boards, because volunteerism is an important thing. It's a giving of the self and time and everything, and we really appreciated the people who filled out the applications and came to the interviews and did that. And then having said that, I would like to wish everybody Merry Christmas.
I'll second. I've said it a lot. Being involved in your local government's important, so thank you to everybody that applied and was on there. And if you're not, please look at other options and be involved as much as you can. Thoughts and prayers to the Isham family. Ronnie gave many, many years of service to this city, and what a legacy he's left in our Parks and Recs department. And then Merry Christmas, everybody. Enjoy it, spend time with your family, and we'll see you in January.
When is the one-time salary adjustment?
I start handing them out tomorrow at 7 in the morning.
Just as a way of saying thank you, Merry Christmas to all the city staff. If you don't remember, we did a one-time salary adjustment for all employees at 1% of their annual adjusted, no, non-adjusted, gross wage, I guess it wasn't. So if you have an opportunity to take an employee and give them a hug or shake their hand for the good work they do. Last thing I have is that Bob Doty came to me about the Cowboy Hall of Fame over here, and he wants to get some more involved in that, so I sent him to Julie. And so you'll hear some stuff from her, hopefully pretty soon, about some more work over there. They're gonna try to re-energize that project. Other than that, I have nothing else to say. Merry Christmas, everybody, and we'll stand adjourned at 8:22 since there's no other business.